What's up, everyone? Paul here from the Hoops Crew. Still a bit flu-stricken, but we're here to do Nuff of the Week this week. And I'm not necessarily crazy about retroactively having a crack at someone because there's always, a lack of hindsight. There's always, hindsight's 2020. All of these different cliches that we can kind of trot out there for individuals when they get it wrong, when they step out and they make a call and only in the future they've proven to be incorrect. They didn't necessarily have the facts handy at the time. It would have been impossible to predict something, etc. But when that person is Kane Cornes and they're speaking about Stephen Wells and Andrew Mackey and decision makers at the Cats when it comes to drafting, I sit back and I laugh my ass off at Kane Cornes. So let's go back to this. You might remember this exchange. Kane Cornes referencing Andrew Mackey and what the club was doing, how they were pushing hard for 6 weeks, apparently, for a 4th round pick, which in the end became pick 25, 76, and 94 for Asava Radaglia. Now, everyone understood that 25 was on the table. Port Adelaide had offered pick 25, and we were happily accepting 25. We wanted a little bit more. And so we pushed, and we got pushed pick 76 and 94. And Kane found that hilarious. Pick 76, laughed my ass off. Sorry, he went even harder than that. I just won't use that language because it's still early in the video and we'll get demonetized. But he went there. He made the comments. AFL Trade Radio rightly pointed out, don't forget pick 24. He claimed my bad. Kane, there's a lot more in this picture that is your bad, my friend. Let's examine a little bit of what happened following that Asava Radaglia trade. Because right now, things are looking pretty rosy for the Cats. Am I right? So I'm going to now bring up the AFL Draft 2023 selections. The full rundown. Because it's going to provide us with some important context here for what came next. We've still got Asava. I need to fix that. Let me stop sharing that screen. Let me present. Let's do this. Make a bit of internet magic happen. Boom, boom. All right. Updated the full rundown of every club's 2023 draft haul. I'm going to scroll down to the Geelong Football Club. And while I'm doing so, I'm going to make sure that I issue a bit of context because, of course, pick 76 and pick 94, you won't see featured here. In fact, no club, to my understanding, went as deep as pick 76, let alone 94. I could be wrong about that. But I'm going to skim just to make sure. 57, 43, 62, 53, 49, 50. Yeah, I don't think anyone went as far as that. So let's now rewind back to the Cats and focus on what we're here to focus on. Sully, you legend. All right. Pick 11 in the draft. Not at all impacted, not at all influenced by what happened with Asava Radaglia. Connor O'Sullivan. Pick 32 was one that Kane wasn't questioning in the slightest because it was originally pick 25 and it got pushed out because of father-sons and academy picks, and Geelong knew that pick 25 was going to bloat out anyway. Became pick 32. We picked up Mitch Edwards. He's not arguing about that, not because Mitch has proven himself to be a rock star or anything like that, but simply because it was a fairly reasonable pick. There's a fair few people. I could probably consider myself in this group that 25 on its own, probably overs for Asava, really. Didn't have a lot of patience left with Asava by the time he was gone. But Geelong was able to drive a price, and Asava was putting a bit of a degree of a premium on his head because of all the investment that Geelong had made. Things worked out nicely for us. We got pick 25 for him. We also happened to get those extras, which Kane found hilarious. What those picks were used on is what features later here in the draft. One of those being a player who, by tomorrow, I would imagine, will be the round 18 NAB Rising Star recipient. Lawson Humphries. He was that pick 94. That came in all the way to pick 63 because of all of the Gold Coast in particular, but other clubs too. The academy selections and all the work that went into that. Sorry, I'm becoming increasingly nasally as my flu starts to kick back in. That became pick 63. It became Lawson Humphries. It became someone who got 23 disposals and operated at 96% efficiency this weekend. An incredible young player. This is why Kane, but also anyone else who really criticizes not just Geelong, and I don't want to get crazy about this. Obviously, we've got a maestro in Stephen Wells and what he can do with draft picks. But really, any club fits this bill as far as I'm concerned. Any club who's chasing additional picks for their outgoing player clearly has eyes on certain players, has philosophies on how they're going to use that pick. Now, maybe they're going to use it in some sort of academy bundle up to, get in there. Maybe it's part of a father-son. Maybe it's because they've got players they've got eyes on. You should never, ever question what the club's up to, but especially when it's the Geelong Football Club and they've got such a track record of picking diamonds in the rough. And we've done it again with Lawson Humphries. George Stevens was the other one that was so that was the pick 76 that came down, I believe. That or it's Ollie Wiltshire, but he's showing promising signs as well. We just need him to have a bit more time. But already, just through what Lawson has achieved, if nothing else, he's already proven that Andrew Mackie chasing those 2 extra picks was worth it. We've got ourselves an absolute ripper in Lawson Humphries, and Kane should deservedly have egg on his face. Kane, you're a bit of a nuffy this week, mate. Or you were 30, 40 weeks ago. I don't know. Times, it's all a matter of perspective. I don't want to look back with hindsight. Kane, you might want to, though. And go, maybe I got that wrong. Maybe I got a little bit too carried away. Maybe I was too quick to laugh at what the club was doing and not trust that Andrew Mackie was then providing for the incredibly talented Stephen Wells and his team to go and recruit a gun that was clearly overlooked by many, many people. And Kane wouldn't have the line of sight on all the players out there in the country. And of course, Stephen Wells, could have been one of many people that had their eyes on Lawson Humphries as well. And we just were the lucky ones that got him. So I'm not saying that we're the geniuses that, plucked out this player out of nowhere and no one else is going to, but also I'm going to double check. Pick 60, pick 37, 34, 64. There was only one player, I better double check. There was only one player selected after Lawson Humphries in that draft. And Reece Torrent, I hope your career is an extraordinary one. But it shows that it's always worth investigating the lower end of the draft. Geelong's proven it for decades. Other clubs have proven it with their success stories, either ones who, slipped to the very, very edges of the primary draft. Maybe they got picked up in the rookie draft. All these success stories are there. If a club wants to chase a few extra picks to go and make some speculative decisions even, and I think there's something to be said for Carlton's decisions in bringing Erasio in. Very speculative with all of his injury history, but it's such a low-risk investment that they've made. These things are always worth it. If it's a low cost and a potential high ceiling, if things work, why not? So Kane Cornes, you're a nuffy. Lawson Humphries, I hope, will continue to tease you. Let's just bring up the picture of this wonderful bloke. Come on. Hopefully, Lawson Humphries' mugshot continues to taunt you for the rest of the season. And you just think a little bit more when you have a crack at a team who's chasing additional picks in the draft, because there might be underlying reasons for it. Because yes, at face value, those things, points-wise, if you want to look at points, they're worth nothing. But what else could they do? And Kane didn't do that. And none of us, and I say this as something, I didn't know Lawson Humphries. I didn't know what he could or couldn't be. I'm not going to sit back and go, I knew. I didn't. But I'm not employed to know. Stephen Wells, Andrew Mackie, they're employed to know. They're employed to know what talent is out there and what's possibly available for us at these sorts of points. What's happening with different clubs and what's going to happen to that pick 94 once Gold Coast evaporates all theirs to make their academy selections and all the father sons do their thing. They know. So maybe trust them when they're chasing a few really low level measly picks, because it might actually become something, and it has. Kane, you're a Nuffy. Cats fans, let's keep celebrating. This bloke surely is going to get the Rising Star nomination this week. I haven't seen anyone else really explode this week in the other games of the round. So hopefully he's the Rising Star recipient, and we're continuing to celebrate Kane. I hope, we're going to keep basking a bit of schadenfreude if that's the case. So cheers to that. Thanks a lot. All right, everyone. That is enough for the week this week. I'm going to go and recover. I'm going to try and purge all this congestion from my head. We're getting there, though. It's been a long week. Remain Geelong strong, everyone. I'll see you later.